Hey y'all, it's Ayana Sunshine and welcome to the Everything Grows podcast. Today we have Faith Thomas Lewis.
Leo.
Yes, I'm so excited to have Faith on here. We met in college and have maintained our friendship throughout then. So much to say we're cousins at this point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We call each other cousin. If we text, hey cousin. If we on Instagram DMing each other, cousin, you look cute. Any
Right.
type of comments, cousin, you look cute. But it just shows that her genuine spirit has just made me feel that comfortable to invite her into my family and my family away from home. And going down to Durham, I had no clue who I was going to meet. And we've had plenty of people from NCCU. That is where the bulk of my network is from now. And her being from Durham was definitely giving me space for home away from home. So I want to go ahead and let Faith introduce herself, say whatever she needs to say to get the conversation started. And happy to have her here.
Okay. Well, thank you for that intro because, like Yana said, I am Faith Thomas Lewis. I am from Durham, North Carolina, but I'm currently living in Burleson, which is like 30, 40 minutes away from Durham. Went to North Carolina Central University for my bachelor's, and I received my bachelor's of social work, and then I received my master's of social work the following year. Met Ayana when she was a resident at NCCU. I was an RA my sophomore year, and she was on the 9th floor, the penthouse, and I was on the 5th floor. I was a 5th floor RA. So we would kind of chat a little bit because we had a really good relationship with the residents my first year as an RA. Then the second year she became an RA and I was still an RA on the same floor. And then we just it was like it meshed. Even if we didn't talk every day, all day, when we did see each other, it was like familiar, it's like family. So very proud to call her my cousin from up north.
Yes.
From a little bit deeper down in the south. Right now, I do therapy part-time and I also work in the school system. I have a huge passion for working with the youth, but also seeing that I have a passion to serve adults and families and couples. So just kind of delving into who I am more and kind of trying to help others along the way. So yeah, I'm really excited to be here.
Yes. So the first thing that I want to get to is because I have a quote on here from her and her mom's interview, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But she said she could be doing anything, but she chose to give back, and I thought that was amazing because that is how Faith has always moved, even when she was an RA, like making sure that everybody had what they needed. If we had program questions, she was there to answer questions, especially for us being first time RAs. We didn't have any clue what was going on in Eagleton Residence Hall. These people are turning up, and I had no clue what was going on. So, Faith, why did you become an RA? What started that?
Like I said, I always had a passion of serving people. So when I was in high school, on my 16th birthday, I got hired at the YMCA, where I was a youth counselor and outreach. So I did like after school and like one of the neighborhoods that was, lower social economic status, more the projects basically. And I really enjoyed working with those students because a lot of those students related to me and who I was and my upbringing. And over the summer, I did summer camp. So I always love working with the youth. I love kind of being that person that gives that energy because that's what we had to do at the Y. So when I became an RA,
big sister vibe.
I was like, okay, we're gonna be excited. I'm in a freshman dorm, and got into it, and it really wasn't that type of vibe. It was like, I'm here for my paycheck. I don't care what you got going on. I remember, and you'll talk to other RAs from when you were a freshman. That's probably like, yeah, she came downstairs on the first day, really excited. We look at her like, what you got going on? I'm just like, y'all, this is like summer camp. What y'all doing?
Right.
This is summer camp. And it was like, no, like this is where they live. And but I think for me, it was like a challenge for me to create that not summer camp environment, but just a family. Because I feel like coming in your freshman year, I realized how I struggled. So I was like, I want to make sure that I'm there for the young ladies that's coming in, because if I can help them not go through the same things I went through or know how to combat that, then I'm going to do that. And so
yes. And I think it's important to talk about that, about being leaders in the community on your campus and understanding where other people are coming from. If there's anybody watching, us now. We both, I think I speak for us both when I say we encourage you to get in like women organizations, or if you're a young man, Faith was in 100 Black Women, or does membership go outside of college?
I didn't do it outside of college, but I was a member, yes.
Because I know Queen and You, they stayed at NCCU.
Yeah.
I was part of an organization called Queen and You, and we both did leadership within those organizations. But I think we understood how important it was to have an example of someone who was moving through campus in a way that was unapologetically them. And that's one thing that Faith has always done. And we could move forward into when our relationship kind of got a lot more closer when she took her reign for Ms.NCCU. I thought that was just it was crazy. So from supporting her while she was going out there taking her pictures to the night before it was election night, we was ready to vote, we walking around the whole campus, and I made it my business to walk around with Faith and let people know who Faith was, because I knew how authentic and how genuine she was. But at the same token, I didn't know up until I did my research that Faith has been missed. Faith has been missed every year of her life. While she was in high school, she was all the homecoming queens. So I love that. So what about that made you always want to go ahead and strive for that? I saw your car wash. Like, what?
Yes, girl, throwback.
Yes. What made you say like, oh yeah, this is for me. This is what I should do. Like, I should, leave my community or leave my grade level or whatever.
So you mean college or high school or both?
Both. Well, okay. Starting with high school, and then how did that transition into? Well, let's start with high school, because I really don't know why you ran for Ms.NCCU. Like, in your core, I knew that you, of course, wanted to serve truth and service for NCCU, but outside of that, yeah.
So in high school is a little bit different. I think high school was a fresh start for me. I was on the varsity squad from freshman year to junior. I didn't cheer my senior year, but my coach was very influential in my life at that time of just, you are a student athlete. So it was if you're not working, you're doing the spring sport on our off season. I need y'all being SGA. Like, she wanted us to be active. So at first, I'm not gonna say she kind of told me to do it, but I didn't really know what it was.
It'd be like that.
So it's kind of like, okay, I guess
they see something in you. They see something that you don't see. So
yeah, and and of course, younger Faith, I'm just kind of like, okay, well, and I was the youngest, so I'm just like, okay, well, I got to be kind of the one that's that representation for the freshman class. So once I got into it, I really enjoyed it, of just being that voice for my class. Kind of for a while, it was kind of just left unattended. So I kind of brought it back and brought some life into SGA, especially for my class. So every year I was, okay, well, I'm gonna make a goal. By the time I graduate, I want to be the class president every year. I want to be the miss every year. And so every year I did that. And that was like a big, it became, and it was a whole thing. Oh, she wants to take all this. She wants to take all that. But the thing for me was just like, once I have a goal in my mind, it's nothing about anybody else. It's just I have to do what I have to do to get to that goal. And I knew that the work I could do, even if I wasn't in that role, I could still assist in some way. So, when I got my senior year and became SGA president and homecoming queen, it was just like a true testament of all the work I had did. And I started getting some of my friends involved as well. So for me, that's what all kind of made it. I didn't expect to run for anything like this when I got to college. Originally, I wanted to go to Hampton. Everybody knew that I was supposed to be a pirate, but they didn't work out for me. Wasn't ready to move away. So adjusting to NCCU, because I'm from Durham, it was a different lens for me. So I was like, I want to be more in the background because I was always on the front line when I was in high school. So when I started doing things and I became like a Miss Eagle ambassador my sophomore year, junior year, I was like, okay, I kind of like this, but I didn't have the confidence to run. And I remember, shout out to Devontae, I had thought about it for some time. I remember he came into our office, our RA office. And Devontae is a friend of Ayana and I.
Yes, come on, Parker.
Personally, come on, Parker. He came in because he worked the front desk during the day. He came to me that night when I was on duty. He was like, I just want to tell you about something. I'm like, what's up? And he was like, you ever thought about running for Miss? I'm like, no, like so-and-so and this is running. He was like, but you need to run. I'm just like, no, this is too much. And I was like, prayed on it. And I talked to my mom and I was like, what, I'm going to do it. Like, why not? Right. We kind of talked about fear a little bit before we got on the call. It's like, you're going to live your life wondering, why don't you just do it? At least you'll know. At least you got your face out there. And at least, you can go for other things if you want to, other leadership opportunities in organizations if you want to, if you don't get it. So,
yes. And funny enough, That next year, Devontae pulled me in the SGA, and
Mm-hmm.
he was
Come on in the
like,
room.
yes, he said, "Come on." But that's I made a post a couple days ago. Look, now right now it's yesterday, but when we post this, it'll be a couple days ago
Mm-hmm.
about what are people's influence in your life, and
Mm-hmm.
we talk about having people in your life that will influence you to move forward or to push forward, or as her coach did, as Devontae did, see things in you that you didn't necessarily see in yourself, but you know that after you do them, you're like, I'm going to be amazing. And that's another thing that I want to put in for our girls. And she was talking earlier about these people were saying things about, oh, every year she's doing or she's taking everything. It wouldn't be hers to have, it wouldn't be yours to have if it wasn't for you. If you get it, you supposed to have it, and you're gonna rock it. And especially if you are somebody who does well at a lot of things, just know that's just what you do. You do well. If you're a hard worker, you're a hard worker. If you're an attentive learner, you're an attentive learner. If you show up and show out and be an amazing leader, that's just how you are, and that's just how you move through the world. And don't be afraid to do that. I think a lot of times people teach us or encourage us to minimize ourselves, when in reality we are such amazing people. And one word that I wrote, one phrase that I wrote down for you, Faith, is being multifaceted. And I think that's something that both of us definitely have. Like, you dance, you cheer, you do all of these other different things. You're a funny person, but at the same token, you can be very serious, and you can be very direct, and you could be very intelligent, and you could show up and show out. You get what I'm saying? So I want
Yeah.
to talk to you about that. Like, yes, to talk to you about that, about being multifaceted and being in different spaces. And when did you let yourself know that it was okay to operate in multiple spaces?
Ooh, that's a good question. I feel like I'm just starting to become comfortable with it in my like adult
Mm-hmm.
years. I feel like a lot of the time I was sometimes scared of my own self, of just
Mm-hmm.
like I can't be too much of one thing. And I've always like learned from my parents of just like don't be too much of anything, right the middle, don't be mediocre, but also it's good to have balance.
Mm-hmm.
So, you get a whole lot of people think of you, and then knowing that you're totally different people really think of you, and trying to like create that balance for yourself. And I think now that I'm getting older, I'm just like, it's okay to be sweet, but also be direct. It's okay to get
Yes.
your point across. It's okay to be there for someone, but also create boundaries for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean that you're less of a person or you're mean or anything, but it's honoring all parts of you. And I think the biggest
Mm-hmm.
part of healing and learning to love yourself is honoring the real sweet parts and the not so sweet parts, the good and the bad, because that's the yin and yang of it. So I think I'm 20, but I'm turning 27 in November. I'll probably say around like 25 is when I really start to accept it.
Yeah,
Honestly.
I agree. I agree, because I turned 25 this year, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that was really when my mind started to open up, to allow myself to be interested in more things, to allow myself to be more curious in
Yes.
life, and just delve into everything, because it's life. Like, you can do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
You have free will. You can do whatever you want. The only person that's stopping you from moving forward is you, and we can't blame the people around us. Oh, this person said, this person. They only said. They
Yes.
only said they didn't
That's
do.
very true.
They only
That's
said they
very true.
didn't
And you
do.
don't
So
want to look back also and just be like, always wondering what if. Like a lot of people I
mm-hmm.
see posts and stuff of like people that are like in their 80s or their 90s of what are things they would have done differently. Is like they would have not allowed other people's opinions to dictate their lives so much. They would have
Yes.
gone after those certain things. So I feel like in this space now and how the world has been and how it's going, we only get one shot at this thing. So
Mm-hmm.
why not? And if you missed the opportunity when you were younger, take it now. But it's
Yes.
just about going forward and exploring the different parts of yourself, because you don't want to leave this earth not really truly understanding all parts of you or trying to understand
Yes. Yes.
parts
Or
of you.
or even just saying that on your way out, and saying, I live the life that I'm proud of. I'm live the
Yes.
life that I'm excited to share. And I always talk about that. Like, I think it's so interesting that by the time people become like, even now, like
Mhm.
in our 20s, or when people get to their 30s, 40s, 50s, and how many lives they've lived, how many
Yes.
places they've been, how many people they've met. And it's like me, my first job, I think people always think it's so funny. I'm like, yeah, I worked at a bingo hall for my actual first job. It could, like, you could imagine me at a bingo hall. I'm so high energy, them people were giving me the tips. Why wouldn't I work at the bingo hall?
Right.
Yes, but also I worked at the Boys and Girls Club, or just it's just so many different things that people do. Or maybe you have visited somewhere, or maybe you have an award from somebody, and people
Yep.
just don't know until they learn more about you. So that this is just us telling you to live your life.
Live your life,
Live your
yes.
life. Yes, and I think another perfect example of that for Faith was her mom. Is her mom, is her mom. I watched the an interview of her and her mom for ABC 11. I'll link it below. ABC 11. But her and her mom graduated with their masters at the same time, and I thought that was the coolest thing that I've ever seen in my entire life. Because, like, what do you mean you and your mom went to school together? What do you mean you and your mom finished school together? So I want to ask you, Faith, like, how was that process, even from like y'all decided, or whoever decided first, or if y'all decided at the same time, like what's going on, and finishing that throughout with your mom? How was that journey all together?
So what most people don't know is my mom received her bachelor's. She went to school late, so in her 30s, her early 30s, she started school from NCCU, and she graduated, I believe, in 2011, because that was the year I graduated from 8th grade, I think. And then she had started the master's program. But my great grandfather, which her grandfather, passed away in 2012. So that was like her father figure. So that just kind of really shook our family to the core. Everything as we knew it was not that anymore. And she took it really hard because she was one who that kind of was his caretaker near the end. So with that, she took a break from school. So when I got out of my 1-year program, out of the BSW program, and I had applied for the 1-year program, she was like, well, I got about a year left. What do you, and I had only applied to NCCU, only applied to that one program. I'm just like, we just gonna step out on faith and do it. I don't know, but I feel like I'm gonna try it. And she's like, well, I only got a year left. Let's see how it goes. And it ended up just working out where we started. She came back at the same time. I started at the same time, and I graduated May 2020. So right a month like when the pandemic was starting, and I was
we the pandemic grads.
Pandemic grads, and like everything you knew was different, like of just going to your internship, going to your classes, to everything being virtual, having to present your like capstone like virtually. It was just a lot for both of us. A lot of life was happening for both of us. So I tie a lot of my success in that year. And I thought she could feel the same to each other because we had each other's back through it all. Even we didn't feel like it was like, girl, come on, do this paper. And it was just like we needed that encouragement to get us through that year, because it was, the pandemic hit a lot. So I'm proud of us, and I'm proud of it. Was actually funny. My cousin, who I call my auntie, when you get a cousin that's really, really like older than you, my auntie, she wrote them about us. So
that's cool.
Yes, she wrote them about us.
Yes, I love that, and I just think that their relationship is definitely a model. Looking on the outside, we all know that we all have our things with our moms, and our moms have their things with us that we get through. But definitely, her mom is a shining example of loving on your child and encouraging your child and just showing up. And I told Faith earlier, I was crying while watching it because it was just so beautiful to see how much her mom loved her, and you could tell that it's genuine, like she wants the best. And I also wanted to talk about how you present yourself as well, and I know that she has a lot. Cookie got a lot to do with that, and making sure that you always like look presentable and look amazing when you step out. And somebody was talking about it on TikTok. We love TikTok, but they were talking about the influences that our moms have on us throughout our lives, and how that influence can show how we operate in relationships, how we operate just as an individual, and how we operate just overall. So I would like to ask, how was that with your mom growing up? Because Faith just give like, I'm cute, and you can't tell me that I'm not cute.
Well, thank you. Look,
yes. So how was that? Just her encouragement, and also I wanted to ask, what part of her energy will you plan to give into your children and into you in the future?
Oh, that's a good one, Yana. Okay. So the first one, how that like really taught into me was just like me growing up. She's always just told me of just like, she's always just told me that I had a special calling on my life of whatever it's going to be, but just like, you are special. And even in times that you may not see it, I see it, and everyone around you see it, but we're going to help you and like kind of give you that family environment and build you up so you can believe that about yourself. But while you're figuring it out about yourself, we're going to make you on the road to success. But a lot of things wasn't like her pushing me to do it. It was me wanting to do it, but also I I was very, very shy when I was younger. So certain things I flourished in cheerleading because like that was my way. I was really shy, but when I got on the stage or got on the mat, it was a different story.
I'm gonna perform.
And like performing arts and stuff. So when I did like acting in plays, that was a way for me to kind of transform and kind of build my confidence. So, and I realized that I was good at it. And so with that, I mean, I feel like I was always very smart, but also I want to be multifaceted. I want to be more than just a smart girl. I want to do other things. So I think with that, she always reminded me of just like, keep doing what you're doing. And even when I would come across like adversity or someone having a problem with me, it's like they know they don't have anything to lose. You have everything to lose. So I had to kind of go with the mindset of just like, you have come too far from where you're from. You're not supposed to be where you are right now. And for that, you have to keep going. You got to keep putting your best self out there, because what you put out there is what people will believe about you. So she really just wanted me to just tune into my authentic self. Even them times I remember when we always talk about it in 6th grade. I remember I was like kind of trying to like be like my friends at the time. We was at a football game, and I remember she pulled me to the side and she was like, "That's not you. That's not you." I don't know what.
They get you going real quick.
That's not you. And from that, I always talk about it. We talked about last weekend. I'm just like, that moment I was like, yeah, that's not who you are. Trying to be like everybody else. You may be the more chill one or reserved one, but live in that and honor that. So yeah. And what I will bring from that to my children, it is having that very much like, I have your back no matter what. Like I know whatever happens, my mama got my back. She'll have my back in front of everybody and tell me I'm wrong later on. She will always hold me accountable. But I feel like because of that, I've grown to be pretty accountable as an adult. And I feel like I teach that along the way. In the same way for me, like, I got your back. I don't care, wrong or indifferent. You was my mama, my best friend.
Yes.
I stand toes against anybody for you. And that's how it's always been with us. So I know I felt protected. And I feel like a big thing with children is feeling protected, also feeling loved. So I hope you pass that down.
Yes. I love that. Yes. I love moms and their daughters. I really do. Because I think that is probably one of the most important. A parent with a child is one of the most important relationships that we have, and I think that it's amazing to honor them when you realize that they're doing things that other people don't get or other people don't see. And just understanding and realizing that you have that supportive person in your life. So thank you for that, Faith. I want to move forward to our professional segment to talk about you and your profession now, and talk about your career so far. Faith and I have both bounced around a little bit in our first couple years of working, but I think it's amazing to see like where you would have thought you would have been and where you actually are. It's so cool, because sometimes the things that you think you want, you realize that maybe that wasn't the best,
right?
But I'm glad that I was able to do it, and I'm glad that I'm on to something different. So can you talk to us a little bit about the positions that you've held so far and how you've transitioned into now being a therapist?
Yes. So, okay, y'all, it's been a doozy. So, like I said, I got my master's in May 2020. So, pandemic time. I had set myself up to go into the school system. I want to be a school social worker. That what my plan was. If y'all can't tell by now, I'm very like, this is what it has to be. But that's not how life works. But I can't help that. That's how I am sometimes. So I was an EC teacher, exceptional children's teacher in a high school up in Burlington for a year. Gave me great experience. I also was a cheerleading coach there, but couldn't really have a team.
Cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, we had no team, girl, because but I was still out there doing drills. Yeah. So I did that for a year. Finally, a position, some opportunities opened up in the district to be a school social worker. It was between for me elementary school or high school. I chose to go with the high school. So last year I was a school social worker at a high school in the same district. It's about 1,200 kids. So it's very, very big for me. But I really, really enjoyed that time. I learned a lot of skills, but I always still had like a itch to like do something with residential living, because I was RN for 2 years. I would have done it for a third year if I wasn't missed. We couldn't double dip. But I still really wanted to like get that experience, because I had such a great time. And Yana and I had a great example of like over us as our boss in that role. So shout out to Rob.
Check
But
out his podcast too. I'll link it.
so like he really, for a lot of us that's had experience with Rob, he has
Mm-hmm.
influenced us a lot. So I did I called a hiatus. I took a hiatus for 8 months and I worked in the mountains in North Carolina at Western Carolina University, where I was an area coordinator over two residential buildings on campus. Really great time. It was my first time being that far away from home. But me being in the college setting made me realize how much the students that were in high school going into college, they didn't have, like what they were lacking of their maturity, accountability. Like they really missed those pertinent years when the pandemic hit. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I can do great things here, but I need to prepare these kids that's about to be going off into the world.
I
Like,
love that.
so I ended up going back to the high schools that last year. And this year I came back in February. So I've been a graduation coach since February. Very different roles. So in a matter of 12 months, I've had two different positions and I've moved twice. But it's all led me to like getting more experience with the youth. Also realizing I really want to get into therapy more. So I am a licensed clinical social worker associate. So I'm working towards getting my full license. It's going to take some years, y'all, and a test to pass. But I am doing some individual, family, and couples therapy right now. Even though the private practice is based out of Asheville, I do telehealth through Burlington. So it's been a learning journey this past year, and it's been a lot of ups and downs.
Yes,
but
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes. I love that, and I love the idea. If you don't learn anything from Faith and I's conversation, is to live your life. Like I said it earlier, but live your life. Like be open to life and breathe in for like bask in the journey, not the arrival. Like that's one of my favorite quotes: bask in the journey, not the arrival, because you can stop yourself from seeing so much of life, from seeing so much of what is for you by feeling like you have to stay in a certain space. You don't have to stay anywhere. The moment that you feel uncomfortable, you start moving your mind to the space of, I wonder what's next for me. It doesn't have to be an energy of, I have to figure out what's next to me for me, because it will come. The second that you decide that something is next for you, spirit, life, universe, whatever, God,
will shift
whatever
that
you
for
believe
you.
in, will shift you. It will start to shift. And because the only way that it will pause, and I've had this experience before, is if you try to fight against it. If you try to fight, or if you try to figure out like, oh, I got to figure it out. When it's like life will literally bring you every opportunity. When hasn't life brought you the opportunity? When haven't you been in that certain space at the right time, at the right moment, and that person popped up to give you the opportunity, or that email popped in you're like, oh, I wasn't even thinking about that. Okay, let me do it. Or that friend, we're hiring, or somebody you met years ago. Oh, we have this going on. What you have going on? You get what I'm saying? Like it's always. And I graduated in 2020, and every year I've had a different job. I think where I am right now is definitely where I belong for a little while. I love the position I'm in. I'm a program coordinator. And I love it. Like I really love it for a literacy program with senior citizens and grade school children. And I'm building out the program right now for the DC area. And I love that. I love the project management. I love like the outreach that I'm going to be doing, but I also love the impact that I'm going to be making on my community. So Faith, I want to ask you this question, and this is going to be our question before last. This is such a great conversation. I'm so happy we were able to make it happen. So why is it important for you to connect with the youth? And I want to start off the conversation with saying like, it's important because these are the foundational years. Like this is the foundation for people. This is the time where people start trying to figure themselves out. For me, I volunteer with Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Washington all the time with the teens and the youth, just because I knew how much I needed it when I was younger. I'm a former club kid as well, but I just knew how important it is. So Faith, you could go ahead. I just needed to say.
And I wanted to also like agree like totally with you're saying of just like these are the like foundational, like the foundation years for them to start getting that mentorship, to kind of getting the right in their corner, because I feel like this is the point of their life where the trajectory can go two different ways, or however many other ways. And if we can be in their life to kind of help, maybe not turn into like a little us, but also just give them those tools that they may have not gotten from home, then we're going to do that for those students, because we needed that. And that's what we got, and it doesn't matter what type of household you come from. It's of what are the things that you're being taught. Some parents are more so based on survival. You'll figure out when you get in the real world. Other people are more so of like, I don't want to teach you those things yet because that's going to get you too ready for the world, and I'm not ready for that yet. So
Right.
kind of trying to find that middle space for them. But I think what really just got me wanting to work with the youth and what has pushed me to continue to do that is just knowing where I come from. People make
Mm-hmm.
jokes and stuff about Durham, but it's not a lot of people sometimes that used to sow into the youth then.
Exactly.
And I feel like, or not even realizing they have the ability to. So I'm not discounting those who have, reached out from the past, but also just a lot of people now have a better understanding of self. And so I feel like we're at a really great time and age with our generation of wanting to sow back because we have so
Mm-hmm.
much to offer, because we kind of saw a bit of both worlds of how our parents kind of grew up and then how the world was sometime, and now how the pandemic has shaped us into our early
Mm-hmm.
years. And so that's kind of what's wanted me to push them, and having these experiences with not just kids in Durham, but having experience with students up here in the Burlington area of just like we're all kind of struggling with the same thing, and they're still having these struggles as they get to high school. That's kind of it for them. Once you leave high school, you already looked at as an adult. But if you're not
Yes.
going to college, or even if you're not in the college or getting enlisted, or you may be going straight into the workforce, I still want you to have those tools. And why do you
Mm-hmm.
not deserve those tools just because you're not going straight into college?
Exactly. Exactly.
So it's just giving all these students a chance to be decent individuals for their lives,
Yes.
instead of their lives, for whatever they want to do, but having those at least foundational pieces to like live that life they want to live, and be like present in that and be comfortable and confident in that.
I
So yeah,
agree. Yes. So if you're in earshot of our voices, go mentor somebody. Like, go
please.
mentor somebody. Go love on somebody. Go care for somebody that's younger than you. Those teenagers, those that 12, the 13, that 14, that 15. That age is so important. Like, and I want you to look back, and I want you to think back to when you were that age and think about what you needed, and that could be a
Yes.
like a just a way for you to go. If you're a young man, especially our young men, we have so many programs for young women, and we need them as well, but definitely our young men for like the gun violence and all the other things that are going on in our communities. And just
Yes.
a lot of them don't have men in their homes, a lot of them, and some of them do, but they just might work too much, that or not too much, but they just might be working for their family, their dad. Like, for me, I went to the Boys and Girls Club because my mom was still at work, my dad was still at work
Mhm.
by the time I got home from school. So I had to go to a space that was carved out for me, that was made for me, and in that space I had people. There were young men and there were young women who came into the space to make sure that we had those tools that we needed. If you want to do sanitation packets for young women, it's
Yep.
you might think that what you have in mind is small, but it's going to affect somebody, it's going to impact somebody. So if you don't learn anything else from this conversation, go love on somebody. Like,
Yes.
and if you have the time as well, make sure that you have the time and that you can make the commitment, because you it does impact them when you come in for just a season or just a small amount of time and you roll out or you dip out, because they're building relationships. Some of y'all might be that big sister, that big cousin, that mom, to
Yep.
some people that dad, to some people that uncle, that aunt, that people just don't have.
Yep.
And we need y'all to get out in the community and teach like more love. Love, 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 love. Love is what we need in this time. Love is what we deserve in this time.
And
So
I like to
yes,
say real quick of be what you needed, and if not, be better than what you got.
thank
So
you.
like if you, yeah,
Thank you for that, Faith.
yeah.
That is it. So then we're gonna end it off on this last question. Faith, where can we see you growing from here?
Whew. That's a good question. Um, I see more so than anything personally, like growing more and comfortable with myself, and I feel like with that, it'll kind of sprout into all the other areas of my life. Professionally, I'm in a new space, going into a new field. So you'll see me kind of learning more about my space in that, but also being an assistance to some through my journey of learning through myself. And hopefully, you'll see me kind of like out in the country and stuff like that, reaching out to not even
Yeah.
just youth, but families and couples. I'm really interested in couples therapy as well as sex therapy, but that's a whole nother conversation. But really just giving people that platform to feel comfortable about the things that they need help with, or the things that they enjoy, and finding that confidence and standing that and being authentic in everything that you do. So I think you'll just see me kind of loving on people through loving myself. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, this was an amazing conversation, and I'm so glad that we were able to have it. So,
Yes.
y'all, please head over to Faith's social media. I'm going to put her pages down below. I'm going to
Yes.
put her website information. Well, to her Psychology Today. Girl, I was on there.
And Open Path, look.
Yes, I'm on all of the things. So yes, I will tag her down below and y'all will be able to see her. So keep growing, friends, and thank you so much for watching.
Bye, y'all.
Hey y'all, it's Ayana and I'm happy to talk about Everything Grows, a 33-day self-support journal. We are basking in the journey and not the arrival. 33 purposeful days for a renewed beginning. The 3 sections are prepare the soil, plant the seeds, and sprouting. At Everything Grows, we are dedicated to helping our community find clarity, develop peace, and maintain joy throughout their lives. We understand that self-care feels like taking your hot bath and putting on your face mask, but we also want you all to consider the self-care, deciding how you want to love, how you want to be loved, deciding how you want to be supported when you feel unsupported. What do you do when you're upset or when you're angry? What do you do when you feel like your boundaries are being tested? That is all self-care as well, to figure out how you want to move and be enveloped into life. Committed to growing right from where we are. Grab your copy today and keep growing, friends.